Hi, this is Mr. Max or Sanko for Mathematics, so please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I am now doing the second part on the problems that you get and then you can solve them using simultaneous equations. If you have listened to part one, I said I will do a five parts questions or 5 questions, and this is the second part of 2 questions. Right, so question 1 says the line y equals mx plus c passes through the points 2, 4 and the points -1, -5. You are then supposed to find the values of m and the values of c. So we're not going to solve this equation using graphs. We're not going to draw any graphs, but you can solve simultaneous equations by means of using graphs. Okay, that's the picture representation of these as functions. So we're simply going to just use the algebra part. So we got an equation y equals mx plus c. I can decide, let this point here be point A, and that is going to be 2, 4. And so this is point B, -1, -5, and the 2 is, and the -1 is my x values, remember, always x, then followed by the y values. So I'm going to use the y equals mx plus c. I'm going to substitute these equations in for x and for y. If I do it for the first one, substituting it, it cleans nicely to 2m plus c equals to 4. If I do it again for the second one, it then becomes -5 equals to -1 times m plus c, which is just negative m plus c equals -5. So I can solve them here henceforth simultaneously. All right, so I am then going to decide to eliminate using the method of elimination, because I can eliminate the c's, and when you are eliminating and the signs are the same, you subtract. So I'll be subtracting equation 2 from equation 1. So I'm putting my brackets there to help me navigate through the problem nicely. You have to be a bit careful here. 2m minus -1m, that gives you 3m, and 4 minus -5 gives you +9. Use a calculator if you can't do that particular question, or that adding of negative numbers and subtracting of negative numbers. So this gives me that m is equal to 3. So now that I have the value of m, I can simply then substitute it into either my equation 1 or my equation 2. So I'm using equation 1. You can feel free to use any of the equations. And I'm getting to 2 times 3, which is 6, plus c should give me 4. That means c is equal to 4 minus 6. Therefore, the value of c is -2. Right, my second question here says you have a curve here, ax squared plus bx plus c. Remember, if you have done functions already, you know that this is a parabola. This is a quadratic curve. And you have got the points 1, 8, -1, 2, and 2, 14. Now, these points are on the curve. Again, I'm not going to use graphs to solve this particular question. I am just going to use the algebra here. Okay, so I'm not going to sketch the graph and plot the points and make tables. That can come later. All right. So I'm going to then substitute the points here into the function because they pass us through the points, which means these are points on the curve, and therefore they are supposed to be equal, and then you can actually substitute them. I'm going to create 3 equations because I've got 3 points given. I'm going to list my points as point A, point B, and point C. Now, if I substitute point A into my function, all right, I'm going to get 8 equals 1 squared times A plus B times 1 plus C. Now, please be very careful that you do not substitute the x's for the y's and the y for the x. Right, so that cleans up nicely to A plus B plus C equals to 8. That can be my first equation. 1 squared is just going to be 1. The second point I have is -1, 2. And if I do my correct substitution, here you should be also careful. A -1 squared, anything squared, is always positive. But here you have b times -1, that gives you -b. And that is my second equation. If you were to stop here, you can actually do these 2 equations. You can solve them simultaneously. And if you subtract them from each other, you will realize that you can eliminate 2 variables and have 1. But we're going to get to that point. I just want to do the third point and sub it into the function, and it's going to clean up nicely to 4a plus 2b plus c equals to 14. Remember, the 4 comes from 2 times 2, or 2 squared. Right, so I'm going to solve equations 1 and 2, as I said, by subtracting equation 2 from 1. That should make it easier for me. And I'm going to eliminate at the same time when I do that. I'm going to eliminate variable A and variable C. Then I'm going to be obviously left with the value for B. So that gives me that A cancel, B cancel, and the C's cancel. And B minus negative B is 2B. And 8 minus 2 is 6. And finding half of 6 gives you my value for B. So now I have my value of B, which is 3, and I can substitute my value of B into any one of the equations, but I'm going to do them step by step. I'm going to substitute the value of B into equation 1. Now, here's the thing. You can substitute the value of B into equation 1, or you can substitute it into equation 2. You are going to get the same answer when you solve that particular um, equation. When you substitute B into either equation 1 or 2, you're going to get A plus 3 plus C. You're going to get, at the end of the day, A plus C equals to 5. You will get the same A plus C equals to 5 had you decided to substitute B equals to 3 into equation 2, for example. So now if you have checked that, you can pause the video, you can substitute B equals to 3 into equation 2. Then you realize you should also add up to A plus C equals to 5. That is the nice thing that you can get from that. So the second point that you need to know is I can now also substitute B equals to 3 in equation 3, and that's what I'm going to do in the next slide. And I'm going to get another equation where it's going to be in terms of A and C and some number, and I will say of them simultaneously. Right, so let me bring that question then back. So the first one is A plus C. Remember what I said? My third equation was 4A plus 2B plus C is equal to 14. Substituting 3 for B cleans up nicely to 4A plus 6 plus C equals to 14. At the end of the day, I get 4A plus C equals to 8. And I'm going to let that be my equation 5. And this one here is my equation 4, of which I'm going to subtract equation 4 from 5. The reason is so that I can eliminate the C's, all right? Same signs, so I will eliminate by subtracting. When you subtract 4A minus A, you get a 3, and 8 minus 5, you also get a 3. And you realize that the value of A is 1. Now that I know what the value of A is, you can then take this value of A again and substitute it into equation 4, or you can substitute it into equation 5. You should get the same value of C. So I decided to substitute it into equation 4. So that gives me A plus C, with A now being 1 plus C equals 5. Therefore, C equals 5 minus 1. And my C equals to 4. So now I know A is 1, B is 3, and C is 4. So I can actually then complete my equation as y equals to 1x squared plus 3x plus 4. All right, no need to write a 1, but that is what you can do. So don't forget to subscribe to this channel and send questions on the comments so that maybe if you're struggling with something, I can also help and assist with that.